This staff form is based on a Zhaobao taiji staff form that I learned in China. After coming back to the United States, I modified the form for my students, including various movements from other routines, in order to develop their staff skills. Some of the movements contain acrobatic moves, while others are purely employed for the principles of attack and defense. The long staff or gun is a weapon that has been used for thousands of years in China. According to the principles of the way of the empty fist, the movements of the staff should be an extension of the body, and the power should come from the rotation of the waist, the alternation of hard and soft movements, the interplay of attack and defense, and the principle of emitting energy through rootedness and stable stepping. Following the principles of the way of the empty fist, this form can be added onto, modified, changed, and altered according to the needs of combat and to the demands of changing situations. The emphasis is on fluidity, creativity, harmony of mind and body, coordination, and mindfulness. Through the practice of the staff, find the interaction between the circular and the straight, alternating between thrusting attacks and circular defenses. The expression of power should be sudden and fierce. The movements can be slow, stable, and motionless at times, but then change into a sudden and devastating attack. As you move, imagine an imaginary opponent, use force without making excessive effort, relax the body, the shoulders, the mind. Forget about your worries, and let yourself follow the endless flow of the movements. Any form is just a beginning, not an ending in itself. It's a starting point and an accumulation of techniques that gradually become one with the practitioner. Smashing, poking, thrusting, striking, whirling, and moving in a constant flow of movements that do not stop at one point, but that continue endlessly as they move from one motion to the next. Seek the simplicity in complex movements, find stability in instability, look for the weakness in your opponent's defenses. Where there is tension, attack. Another aspect of practicing the staff is not based on self-defense, but on the natural development of muscles in the body, the stretching of the ligaments, tendons, and the meridians of energy. From this perspective, as you practice, find the moments where you are most tense and relax the body. Practice a posture without moving and find the silence within. If there is soreness anywhere or tension, do not fight against it, but learn to surrender to it, understand it, and release it. In the repetitive practice of forms, each repetition should be done with intent, with the unity of the mind and the body focused on the point of attack. The staff has become an extension of you. It is like an additional leg or an arm. No part of the body moves without another part of the body being involved. Practicing a form is also a way to alleviate stiffness within the body and to rediscover the fluidity that a child has. Our forelimbs can move in different directions with the waist as the axis. This long staff is thicker in diameter and is longer than shorter staffs that are currently used in competition routines. In fact, in the Chinese tradition, traditional weapons are much heavier than modern ones, which tend to be more flexible than traditional ones. The best way to select a staff is to find a long pole that is relatively thick and 1 or 2 feet higher than your head. In traditional culture, the staff could be much longer and heavier. It's possible to use other types of staffs, and it depends on what you choose as a weapon because anything can become a weapon in the hands of a martial artist. The movements in this form are derived from Changgun routines in Chinese culture, particularly from Zhaobao taiji quan, but the staff has been practiced worldwide. For instance, it is used in Japan as well as in China and in martial arts circles all around the world. Hapkido, karate, taekwondo, kung fu, and many other forms of martial arts use the staff effectively to train the body and mind as well as to use the staff in actual combat situations. The smashing technique is particularly effective and can devastate an actual opponent. Two-person fighting routines can also be created focusing on the principles of attack and defense. In this style of martial arts, the two-person and one-person routines should not be completely fixed routines. In other words, there should always be an element of unpredictability, and multiple techniques can be inserted within the form, so the form should be able to change rather than becoming a rigid pattern. In designing a form, emphasis should be based on practicality, flexibility, and creating a series of interlocking techniques. In the way of the empty fist tradition, there is not one style that one should limit oneself to. Instead, the focus is on using the mind to study widely and broadly without neglecting the details. As a result, a practitioner of this form should always be humble and learn from other masters and students from other traditions, especially because martial artists are on a similar path in life and can mutually enrich each other. Always remaining modest and always learning from others is a key character-building aspect of the martial arts and can lead one to a path in life where one maximizes the ability to learn. Spins can come from top to bottom based on the chop or pi or yao from downwards to upwards. In the practice of the staff, you can move slowly at first, concentrating on the correct placement of the body, and gradually develop speed as you grow more comfortable. This form will change over time as it is merely a collection of techniques that can be added upon, enhanced, and transformed. The key is consistent and daily practice, constant revision, and practicing in a way that makes sense to you. I personally prefer the heavier staffs because you can develop your muscles more, but I recommend using a flexible PVC staff that is shorter because you will be less likely to damage your body if you hit yourself while you are practicing.
You